Sony, are you still mad at Nintendo for backing out of the SNES CD deal so long ago? Not only did you copy the Wiimote, but did you have to copy Smash Brothers as well?
PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, or as I've been calling it, Sony Smash Brothers, is a game that you can taste the spite as if Sony said that they'll make their own Smash Brothers game with blackjack and hookers. Almost everything Sony has done feels like a plot to destroy Nintendo, as if they looked at Microsoft and deemed them not a threat. That especially rang true when Microsoft had Sony in their sights, turned the gun around, and shot themselves in the face with the Xbox One reveal. We know how the PlayStation came to be. Nintendo asked Sony to make a CD add-on for its SNES. In some stories, it was a standalone CD-based system or an SNES with a CD drive built in. Whichever version of the story you heard, it all ends the same. The two companies couldn't agree on licensing terms, Nintendo backed out, and Sony made their own console out of spite.
It's understandable. You spend all that R&D money, make over 200 prototypes, and the person you're making it for walks away from the table? I would do the same thing, too.
Sony pretty much lured as many third-party developers as they could away from Nintendo, stole the Rumble Pack, the analog stick, the Wiimote, the portable device with a touchscreen, a rumored controller with some sort of touch input, and now they have their own Smash Brothers game. Their motto should just be, whatever Nintendo makes, we take. This is going to be a relatively short review because of the game's simple premise and mechanics. It's a fighting game with up to 4 players and you can fight against people online. The graphics are up to the standards of the 7th generation of games, and the music is taken from the games the characters have appeared in. The way they did the stages is pretty cool. They start off in an area from a game and then it opens up into a combination of 2 merged areas, like the Metropolis from Ratchet & Clank getting invaded by the Hydra from God of War.
You can really see the Smash Brothers inspiration here. That's why this is going to be a short review. If you played Smash Brothers, you played this.
It's not exactly like Smash Brothers, as there is one difference that I'll get into in a bit. The characters control well and all feel different. They all have different speeds and weights, which makes how they handle very different from one another. Square, circle, and triangle have them perform attacks, and they'll do different attacks depending on the direction you're moving the analog stick or D-pad in. It's very similar to Smash Brothers in how you attack. What lacks is the smash attack that you can charge to knock your opponent out of the area. While it is possible to knock your opponent out of the area, it's not easy as it usually requires the use of a level hazard, as knocking your opponent out isn't how you're supposed to win.
This is the only major difference between Smash Brothers and this game, and people criticized it for that. Although, in actuality, it's just the opposite of what Smash Brothers does.
In Smash Brothers, the higher your damage is, the easier it is to be knocked out of the area. In All-Stars, you have to build up a meter so you can use a super move to defeat your opponent. So instead of you building up your opponent's damage meter so you can knock them out, you have to build up your own super meter to knock them out. It's really the same process, just reversed. If you run into an opponent who has a super move ready, that's like running into an opponent when your damage meter is really high in Smash Brothers. The result will be the same. You're getting knocked out. So I don't see why people criticized it. The only reason why anyone would is that mentality of, it's different so it sucks. There's items in the game that you can pick up and use, and they'll cause an opponent to drop AP, which is used to charge your super meter. But more than likely they'll be the ones picking it up, as they'll probably land on it, which will increase their super meter instead. AP works like health in Smash Brothers, only in reverse. It doesn't heal damage, but increases the super meter.
The reason why I compare this to Smash Brothers so much is because, well, that's what it is, just with Sony characters.
It's a Smash Brothers clone, but it's a good Smash Brothers clone, and I mean a really good Smash Brothers clone. If any company that was going to do their own take on Smash Brothers, I'm glad it was Sony, as they do have a very large lineup of their own intellectual properties to use. I think there's only 5 third-party characters: Dante from Devil May Cry, the Big Daddy from BioShock, Isaac Clarke from Dead Space, Raiden from Metal Gear Solid, and Heihachi from Tekken. The rest are all owned by Sony, and it's nice to see Sir Daniel Fortescue from Medieval returning in something. It would have been nice to see Crash, Spyro, and Lara Croft be playable characters. After all, they did enjoy a lot of success on the PlayStation, and that's where they started. However, Sony lost the rights to Crash and Spyro when they left Universal Interactive Studios, the co-publishers of Crash and Spyro, holding the bag when Naughty Dog and Insomniac went to work on the Jak and Ratchet games. And Lara Croft was always owned by Eidos, who was bought out by Squeenix.
And I know that someone out there is going to say that they want to see Final Fantasy characters in this game, but they already have their own fighting games, so do we really need to see them here?
There is a rumor of them working on a sequel, but I'm not sure how that will happen. It was rumored that Sony shut down Superbot Entertainment, but that was proven false, as Sony Computer Entertainment just cut all ties with Superbot Entertainment due to the low sales of the game, and Superbot is now working on new intellectual property at the moment. It's odd that Sony cut ties with Superbot, as they are the ones who created the developer, but Superbot is now their own independent company. I would love to see a sequel. I really enjoyed this game and thought it was a really fun experience. I can't pronounce this guy's name, so I'll just put it up here. He said, never say never. and that he'd like to see a sequel just with different mechanics. But the action is that chaotic fun that we all know and love from Smash Bros., and it's nice to see that Sony tried their hand at it, as they are the only other console maker that could pull it off, seeing that Microsoft has what? Master Chief Blinks and Banjo-Kazooie? I don't think those three characters alone are enough to make a fighting game.
If you need a Smash Bros. Fix and only have a PS3 or Vita, get this. It's a pretty good substitute, and you can't go wrong for $20 for a PS3 copy, especially because you get the Vita version for free.